So we've been talking a lot lately about leadership and the importance of leadership. There's a couple things I want to read you about leadership. I think oftentimes what people think, and by the way, I'm coming to you from Nassau, because that's where I am this week for work, but I think oftentimes people think that leadership is about advancing your own position or somehow making yourself seem more important. In reality, what leadership really is, it's about increasing the value of others. And anything that you can do to help others succeed, help them accomplish their goals, is really what leadership's about. So I just kind of want to touch on a couple really important points of what leadership really is. So when we talk about leadership, we talk about adding values to others. And really what that means is in four really important things here we could truly value. How to exemplify that? We truly value others. We make ourselves more valuable to others, which means, when we see somebody else doing right, let's back up just a second. So truly valuing others. Always see what people are good at, right? And try to put them in a position to capitalize on what they are good at. That's what leadership does, right? Like leadership takes a guy who has certain skills or certain talents and puts him in a position to always capitalize on those skills and abilities. So truly valuing people and what they're interested in and who they are and the things that are going on around them. You never discount somebody's circumstances for just because, right? Always think that somebody can create value and that somebody can help to advance the organization's position. And if you can see that in somebody else, you will ultimately be catapulted to a higher level also. So the next thing is make ourselves more valuable to others. So what I mean by that is look around to your subordinates, to the people who you report to, and ask them, say, how can I help you get what you want? Because the true leader is accountable for the success of everybody around them, whether it's their subordinates or their superiors. Like you want to really separate yourself from the masses. Take responsibility for the successes and failures of your management. If your manager makes a bad decision, that's because you gave him bad advice or you gave him bad information, because he doesn't know all the things that you know in terms of your projects or in terms of whatever it is that you're responsible for. So keep that in mind. So continually ask yourself, how can I add value to other people? This is really key. Know and relate to what others value. If those people around you value, let's say, technical skills, you know that about them and relate to that. That might not be key to what you really want them to do, but know that that's what they want and understand that. There's some really important stuff about that when it comes to really getting the best out of people, is knowing what makes them tick and being able to relate to that. And then the last thing is that you should aspire to do the things that God values. So, treat people well, there's just those things spiritually. And when I say God, I don't mean, my God or, the God of other specific religions. What I mean is do the right thing. Do what spiritually makes sense to you. And then, and by doing those things, what we'll realize here is, and I got a couple other little notes here, and I just want to read these to you. What you'll find is if you really adhere to the four things I've laid down here, truly value others, make yourself more valuable to others, know and relate to others, and then do the things that God values. What you'll realize as a leader is you'll realize true fulfillment in leading others. I mean, when you're tasked with just the management of somebody else's work product, it is horrible. You got to continually watch them, figure out what they're doing, why they're fucking it up. Like, let's not worry about that. If you do the things I'm talking about here, which is really like making other people great, really figuring out how to propel them forward, you'll find real fulfillment in that. It won't be just, yeah, you know what, we checked another box, we built another hour, we changed another spreadsheet. It'll be Look at what the people around me have accomplished because of how I've helped them. And when I say help them, I don't mean done 1,000 hours of work that you would really require them to do. But what I mean is you gave them the right information. You did the analysis that they couldn't do because you had the expertise to do it. Those are the things that are important. Leadership with the right motives. That's another thing. Motives for leadership shouldn't be to propel yourself forward. If that's why you're interested in leadership, then go find something else to be interested in. Go find some book on how to manipulate people, because that's not what leadership is. Leadership is the ability to help create better people, right? Like, that's really what leadership does. And if you're not leading from that position, you're not leading at all. You're merely trying to advance your own position on the backs of others, and that's not leadership. The other thing that is important is that you'll realize the ability to perform significant acts as leaders. And significant acts might be things that don't seem like a big deal to you. And I'm continually reminded of small things that people once removed from the situation have come to me and reminded me that I've done for them. And at the time, I didn't think were a big deal. Like, I'm continually reminded of a friend of mine. When we were young kids, he was significantly different than I was. I was fortunate enough to be athletic and bigger than most kids and pretty smart and vocal, and people really liked me. And this other kid, he was brilliant, wasn't particularly physically attractive. And one day he asked me, how is it that I'm able to do what I do? And what he really wanted to know is like, hey, can you help me be cool? And I hate to do this, but this is what happened. And evidently at the time I said, just do you, or be yourself. You can't do anything except be who you know yourself to be. And then I want to say it was 10 or 15 years. I mean, we were in our early 20s, and he came to me one day, and he said to me, and it wasn't somebody that I particularly kept in touch with, and I'm not real good at that stuff, but it wasn't somebody that I was really diligent about keeping contact with. And he said to me, he's like, I want to tell you something that you said to me one time that really changed my life. And it was, he tells me that story of the time when we were children, and he says to me, hey, how do I be cool? And I said, do you. And at the time, I didn't realize that was going to be an influential moment for that person, but it was, and he remembered it. So remember that you have the ability as a leader to perform significant acts, whether you think they're significant or not. You also be able to develop a leadership team. I think that teams always perform better than individuals, so keep that in mind. And then the last thing that I think is really important is that you want to instill in your leadership team this attitude of service. You want to make sure that the leadership doesn't exist because of the people. You want the people to succeed because of the leadership, not the other way around. So that's a hard one to grasp for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people think like, oh, I'm a leader. These people are my minions. They do what I say. They're nothing without me. And that in fact, if you're really going to lead people, that should be the farthest thing from your mind. So keep those things in mind. I mean, I'm going to run through them one more time. If you really want to, if you're interested in asking people to follow you, you want to value them, you want to make yourself valuable to them, you want to know and relate to their values, and you want to do the things that God values. And then what that'll allow you to do, it'll allow you to achieve fulfillment as a leader. It'll allow you to have the right motives as a leader. It'll allow you to perform significant acts and develop a team of people around you that can all lead. And it will cultivate an attitude of service on the team. So keep that in mind. See you tomorrow.